So we have a very sophisticated and subtle model. That's why it's hard to understand. We have terms that are related to other terms, but the relationships themselves are also other terms. All right, so let's take a look at how that plays out. We're going to look at how you would implement different access structures in this model. So we have above here. If you look at the second image on your screen, it says an instance that implements a hierarchy, and we have the schema above, and we have an instance below, and we're going to represent the hierarchy. So let's look first of all down here at item 11. Excuse me, at the term that's on line 12, and that term has an ID of parent. Notice that it has the ID of parent, and notice that this term has what applied to it? It can have attributes. The element term can have attributes and child text nodes. What's the word for that? I hope it's starting to be able to be accessed by you. It's mixed, right? Term is mixed because it can have children of both types, children of the element slash attribute type and children of the text node type. So the content of the term whose ID is parent is this phrase. Referent is one level higher in a hierarchy. This is defining a relationship. It's the parent relationship. So the term on line 12 is not a term at all. It's a relationship type. But everything's a term, and so whether it's a piece of content or it's defining a relationship, and in fact, to kind of just go one level beyond what I really want to explain, what really is the difference between a piece of content and a relationship? They're all just concepts, and we're interrelating those concepts, and that's what this schema is capable of doing. Create whatever concepts you want, and maybe instead of the word term, we should have used the word concept. Create whatever concepts you want, interrelate them however you want using other concepts. Okay, so this is pretty hairy stuff. So on line 12, we have the kind of relationship. It's a parent. Now let's look at line 2. Line 2 is a term as well, and it's called the root term. I chose that ID because I want that to be the term on top. And so I'm just going to call it the root term, and it's animals of the world. And then I look on line 3 and I see another term called Africa, and the name, that's the ID of the term, is Africa, and the name of the term is African animals, and it has a relationship. The relationship type ref ID is parent, and the referent, what it's pointing to, is the root, meaning in English that root term, animals of the world, is the parent of the Africa term. Now you can see why I used words as the IDs. If we don't use words as IDs here, this thing becomes completely unreadable, right? If that said relationship type ref ID T123, referent T3, right? We would have no chance of parsing this thing without a pencil and paper and writing things down. So by using IDs that are common words in here, I have a chance of being able to read this. Okay, so I define the relationship on line 12. It's a parent relationship, and I'm using it on line 4. Okay, and that's how, and there's only that one relationship in here, and you can see that all of these different terms are related up one to the one above them using that same parent relationship. Okay, so I've defined a hierarchy here using the relationship called parent. Now it's not a hierarchy until I transform it and make it a hierarchy, but I've been able to implement that hierarchy. Okay, let's look at another one. This is a thesaurus, and a thesaurus, the basic kind of thesaurus anyway, has hierarchies, has a hierarchy, a broader, narrower term hierarchy, and it also has synonyms, and in this case we're also going to have genetic relationships. Okay, so we have synonyms, we have broader terms, and we have genetic relationships, just to show you that we can implement yet a different kind of relationship. And if we look on lines 16, 17, and 18, that's what's defining those three relationships. 16, 17, and 18 define the relationship. We've already seen a parent relationship, but now we have a synonym relationship and a genetic relationship as well. So if we look at the term aardvark here, it has a parent relationship to the term savanna. It has a synonym relationship to the term anteater, and it also has a genetic relationship, believe it or not, this is actually true, to an elephant, because aardvarks are actually related to elephants. Okay, so here we have a thesaurus. It's a complex thing. It's implementing not only a hierarchy, but it's also implementing associations between terms, and it's using that same unified or simple or global or binding schema to do it. Okay, let's look at the next one. Now we're looking at a sequence, and a sequence should be pretty easy. We look down here at line 9, and we see that it's a next relationship. And we look at the term. We see now on line 2 the term aardvark has a next relationship to camel case. Camel case has a next relationship to bird brain, and bird brain has no next relationship. And the fact that it has no next relationship can symbolize to us that it's at the end of the sequence. So if we wanted to find the end of the sequence, we'd find a term that has no relationship of type ref ID next.